Hi, everyone, and welcome. I wanted to do this Q&A for you today because I know that a lot of parents have questions that they still are unanswered. And you've been on this journey maybe for a long time, or maybe you're brand new to the journey and just got a diagnosis and you don't know what to do. And I've lived this myself. My son was diagnosed with autism 10, or actually 20 years ago now, which is hard for me to believe. And it took me 10 years of trial and error and research and implementation of what I was researching on my own after realizing that really all the doctors and therapists and everybody I was trying to see to get help really didn't know what to do and thoroughly. And that's what I've learned. And so in that decade that it took me to implement, I learned so much, and I came out the other end with my son's symptoms recovered. His symptoms are gone. He's a fully independent person, has his own full-time job, fully independently financial, a college graduate with a bachelor's degree, and his symptoms are gone. And what I've been able to do is take all of my research and my now 20 years of autism research, plus my complete of total 38 years of holistic health background as a craniosacral therapist studying the brain. And I take all of this and I bring it to you in a step-by-step program that I developed because when I had such success with my own son, I knew that I couldn't just keep it to myself. I really wanted to be able to share it with other parents like yourself who are on the journey and searching for the answers. And you've been jumping around from the internet to books to therapists to doctors to everything and spending a lot of money. And I know how expensive it can be. It's really incredible. People are taking second mortgages out on their homes to be able to help their child, and the time that it takes for all of the therapies and all of the doctor's appointments and the years of trying to figure it out, but maybe not being on the right path. And this is what I've been told by so many parents who found my program, joined it, and they said they had been working with functional medical doctors or various doctors or practitioners and people for years, even decades, and not really gotten the results they hoped for. And in my program, they did. Their child's life had changed dramatically. And I always say every child's level of recovery is different, but every child can improve. And we only know what level of improvements and what their full potential can be or they can get to when all 4 of my stage process has been done properly and it's been done thoroughly. And this does take time, but I'm here to save you the time and the money. So I put together a step-by-step program. It's called the Naturally Recovering Autism Membership. And the link to join it is right here on this in this video with me, naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. And we've just opened enrollment to it. And it's been going for 10 years strong, and it's in over 40 countries. And yes, this is for any child of any age, whether they're young or an adult. It has huge success. And what I want to do is be able to walk you through each of those steps in a sequential order so that you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You're not just going to be given a bunch of supplements and told, take these today. I know that I've talked to parents who were sent home from a doctor's office with that, and they did that because that's the direction they were given, and then their child just got so much worse. We go very, very slowly, one thing at a time. I give you a direct link to the exact, very well-researched product that you'll need to get when you need it. You purchase it online from the company. I don't sell any products, and all I do is guide you through the process. You have one-on-one support inside the program from the forum, which is where every member asks me their questions and I get back to you within 24 hours there. So that if you have something very specific about your child you're wondering about, it answers it for you there. Or I answer it for you there. And that way everyone can learn from the answer, because you'll find, especially once you're in there, that almost everybody has the same question sooner or later. And so that gives the opportunity for everybody to learn. And it's a very much an educational program as well for you. Again, done on your own timeline. I know your time is precious, and I know that you've been overwhelmed in the past, and I'm here to help create clarity and confidence in this journey and have the support you need from somebody who has lived the journey personally and who gets it, because I know there's also a lot of judgment out there. We were told we should just be firmer with discipline, and if we were basically better parents, our son wouldn't behave this way. And we thought, what? That's crazy. And so it was through my own research again that I was able to bring my own son to recovery. And I want to help you get the best results for your child. And I've seen that with so many people I've helped, with thousands that I've helped walk through this program now. So again, you can learn all about it, and enrollment is open for a very limited time. So please go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go and read everything it has to share with you, the modules, what they offer, support for, of course. Yes, we walk through everything. My 4-stage process is basically walking through everything that has to do with healing the gut. And that does absolutely include diet, but it's much more than most diets you've seen, because I give you all the do's and all the don'ts, but I also give you recipes and cookbooks and strategies and resources to get nutrition into your child now for that picky eating, and things that are going to start healing the gut up so that you can get some more nutrition into them and the picky eating reduces. We want to make sure that you know about more than just gluten-free, casein-free. I want to make sure you know about all of the other hidden triggers in other foods, even some of them healthy foods, that may be causing your child anxiousness, inability to sleep, hyperactivity, all of these things that can come from food. So you need to know all of the thoroughness around diet. Besides diet, we have a lot of various, very specific supplements that we use, and everything is all natural. There is nothing here as drug or pharmaceutical. And so these are all natural. And again, I've researched now 20 years and 38 years in holistic health, having background before I even had my own son's diagnosis as well. And I bring all of it to the table for you and teach you a lot. But I don't just teach you what to do, I show you how to do it. Because when we work on healing the gut, we need to move through to stabilize the foundation, because the gut controls the brain and the gut controls the immune system. So these things are important to know, to be able to heal the gut up first. And you want to have some things like toxin binders and various things in place so that they can help sop up the toxins that your child's body's not able to dispel fast enough as they're being detoxified, because you may have already experienced your child getting much, much worse on the detoxification journey. And so what I'm here to show you is the way to do it as slowly as possible, so it's done as safely as possible. And so you also are getting the least amount of die-off reactions, or we want to reduce that likelihood on the journey. So show you how to do that. And then we're doing safe, natural heavy metal detoxification. Then stage 3 are clearing the co-infections that are the most commonly missed in autism. If they are found, most tests are very inaccurate, so you can get a false reading when your child's positive for it, which can be the same for even heavy metal detoxification or heavy metal testing. But I'm talking about things like parasites, which are very, very common. Mold biotoxins from mold exposure from water damaged buildings, and the body cannot dispel those toxins on its own. So it has to be worked with properly. And it could have been past exposure, but now your child's body and maybe even your own are still trying to fight that. So there's this cascade of inflammation in the body that your body's trying to deal with. This causes so much brain fog, inability to think, inability to focus, depression, sleep disorders, and just the list goes on. And then there's Lyme disease. Lyme is, they say, close to 100% of children with autism have Lyme disease. It's passed in utero from us. It's also passed through breast milk, but it's much more than a tick bite these days too. It can be from sand fleas, horse flies, mosquitoes. So things are getting passed into us in this world today that are much more easily than they used to. So that needs to be worked with properly, and those tests are very, very inaccurate. You're very likely to get a false reading. And again, everything I use in my program is safe and natural. It's only going to help to balance the immune system, because the immune system is also very much dysregulated. And that means it's either overactive or underactive. And that can trigger something called PANS, which is an autoimmune issue where the immune system starts attacking itself. And that means also attacking the brain. You might see this sudden onset of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, or this extreme anxiousness and clinginess and fearfulness all of a sudden. And so these are some of the symptoms, but it also goes along with a myriad of other symptoms that they can have. And you'll notice too in all of these that the symptoms overlap. It's never just one thing. And the symptoms from the gut needing to be healed, and heavy metal toxins and co-infections and pathogens and candida and all these things, a lot of the symptoms will overlap, causing speech issues, mood and flexibility issues, inability to stay calm, anxiousness, fearfulness, inability to focus, sleep problems, so many things. And so they all overlap. So you don't want to just do a little bit of diet and a little bit of detox and think, well, we've done some of that and, they got a little bit better, but, there's still some things going on and I don't know exactly what else to do. That's what I'm here to teach you, are the other things that you can do, because there are many other things that you need to do for optimum results. And that's what I teach you in my program. And the fourth stage is brain support and repair. And parents sometimes ask, well, don't we want to do that first? Well, if the brain is too inflamed and too toxic to be able to think clearly, your child can't do most of the things they're asked, even if they want to. This was my own son's issue. We knew he was brilliant, and he would say, Mom, I want to, but I can't. Why can't I? And he would try to do things and wasn't able. And now all of those things are gone. He went from having trouble in school, D's and F's, to finishing college as almost a straight A student, A's and B's. And just, we always knew how brilliant he was, and he is brilliant, but he couldn't think clearly with all of those toxins and all of those things on his brain. And so not only are they, having these symptoms, which they are just symptoms of these underlying causes, but they're also unhealthy. We want our kids to be healthy and we want them to be happy. So we do the brain support last in therapies, because that way you'll know what they need. I actually took my son out of therapies that weren't working for him, and I was spending a lot of time and money on them and taking him there. They weren't helping him, and I pulled him out, and then later, after I did all of the work that we did with him, he never needed to go back. So it saved me a fortune in money, and that's what I'm here to save you, is get you the best results in the quickest time possible. And I'm not saying it's fast, because we want to do it right, but will say that you won't be wasting any time. Your time will be well spent, and so will your financial resources, because you're not having to jump around anymore trying to figure it out for yourself. The enrollment to the program is open right now for a very limited time, so make sure you go to the page, look at the payment options, because you can pay annual or monthly. It's all right there to show you what the options are. There are testimonies in video and in text form from many of the members that have shared their results that they've gotten in the program, so you can read what it's done for other parents. And then it talks about some of the modules in the program and what's in that privacy protected membership site for you. We also have a live monthly call. I'm doing a bonus for this enrollment for doing a live onboarding call, so that 2 days after enrollment ends and you're new to the program, that you've got support. So we all come together as a group, and I do a call where you can ask me any new questions. I go over how to get started. But really, once you join, you'll get an email from me within 5 minutes, and that email will give you your login details to our privacy protected membership site, and you'll be able to basically log in immediately. You have instant access to everything. It is done in a sequential order for your own guidance, but your own ease, and also your best results. And I want you to stick to the sequence, because it's meant to be in the specific sequence it's in on purpose. Everything I do has a purpose, and there's a meaning behind why we do one step before the other. So you'll follow the sequential order. Your email will show you how to get into the site and then go to the Start Here page and then the introduction page. And those are going to tell you, kind of show you the lay of the land a little bit very simply, and then send you to the first page for where you can start the supplements. And you'll have immediate access, and you do it again on your timeline, and you only get the supplement you need when you need it. So you're not buying a whole bunch of supplements up front. You maybe buy the first 2 or 3 that you're going to need in the next couple of weeks. You start those, implementing those. Once those are going well, and you go, okay, now I can add in another one. Then you go to the next one in the supplement line and add in the sequence and start implementing that as well. So it's all laid out for you in a very simple strategy that, again, took me over a decade, and now I have 20 years of experience to share with you to create this program that has had immense success worldwide. And it is open right now, again, for enrollment for you to join, and it's open for a limited time. If you happen to miss my free live workshop that I did this last week, I taught for about an hour each day, and then we followed it with live Q&A afterwards. And I walked through my 4-stage process. And all of those replays for each of those days are on this same page here where the enrollment is at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. So on that page, you can learn my 4-stage process. If you missed any of that or want to revisit it, it's there for you on the replay page. So all of those classes are still there right now, again, for a limited time, while enrollment is open, and enrollment is also available for you on that very same page. So it's all in one place. And so you can learn everything you need to make a confident and comfortable decision, because I want you to make an educated decision for yourself. And I do urge you to think about, this is a new year, right? We're in 2026, and we have the ability to make changes for ourselves, but we have to do things differently to make change happen. And we have to trust ourselves that we can do that. And I'm giving you the guidance you need, and you can implement. I know you can. You just follow the steps. If you want this year to look different than last year, then let's start making some changes, and changes that are known to make a difference. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results. And if you're not happy with the results you've had in the past, then you continue with, you try something new. And that's not meaning trying 5 new doctors and 5 new therapists and jumping around the internet and books. This is a proven program. If it's followed correctly and thoroughly, people get results. And we need to do it slowly and safely on your child's timeline, and you need to do it thoroughly. But it gets people results where they've never gotten results before. I hear that over and over from people all the time. So I'm here to help guide you, and that's what the program offers you. Jessica, I see you've jumped in, so let me answer a question. Thank you so much for all this info and hope. Oh, you're so welcome, Jessica. Do you recommend supplements use artificial ingredients or additives at all? My son tends to be really sensitive to fillers and additives. Right. We don't want fillers and additives at all. And we don't want anything that is synthetic. Everything is natural. It's been extremely well researched by me, personally used by myself and my family. I have interviewed most of the owners of the companies as well as the researchers for the products that are in the program. They are right for what we need for our sensitive, very sensitive children with autism, because yes, they're extremely sensitive. No one should ever really start with the dosage that's on a bottle, especially for a child with autism. There are things in the program we start out with as little as 1 drop a day to see. And then if 1 drop is too much, I show parents how to reduce that to 1/2 drop at a time, and then even to 1/4 drop at a time if needed. Because yes, our kids are very toxic and have a lot of pathogens. And if we start detoxing and fighting off pathogens too quickly, then they can have a big die-off reaction, which was how they get much worse really quickly. So we want to reduce that likelihood, and I show you how to do that in the program. And everything is safe and natural, and really is the best of the best that I have found for what we need at that particular time in the process. and for the specific and very specific needs of autism. Um, uh, yeah, nothing is synthetic. Um, I missed somebody's question here. Stefania, did my son have aggressive meltdowns? He absolutely did. And I know how hard those can be. I'm guessing that you're asking because you have a child with aggressive meltdowns, and they are no fun. Nobody wants to have to deal with that. It can be hard to even take them out in public because you don't know when they might go into one. Or sometimes my son would really hold it together, like at school or out of the home. And as soon as we got home, he would just let loose. And I did learn, if it makes you feel better, that they do that with us because we are their safe place. They feel safe with us, but they bottle all this up inside of them, and they're anxious and they can't filter everything out, and it all overwhelms them. And they can't control their behaviors and their moods because of all of these things that I just mentioned, and they just can completely lose it. And it's not like a 2-year-old having a tantrum. We know a child with autism or a person with autism having a meltdown it can be extreme and even violent at times. And so, these things can all go away. I've helped so many parents, including my own son, go from this wild to being calm and happy and relaxed. And tons of parents, so many that I've worked with, have shared that with me, that has happened for their child. And so it absolutely is possible, even if your child is extremely severe. I've helped parents with severe children be able to bring them to such a calmer, happier state. And this is what we want. We want peace. We want them to be peaceful. We want peace in our homes. We want our family to be happy, as well as our child to be happy and healthy, and helping them live to their full potential. Absolutely. Jessica, wow, awesome. It's so hard to find supplements without synthetics. It is. And that's one of my things. It took me a long time to figure everything out that I've put in this program. And it's because there are so many junky supplements on the market. I mean, there are a lot. I mean, there are thousands of probiotics alone, and most of them can't even survive the heat of the body and get to the gut, and they're destroyed. It's just ridiculous, some of the things, and they're very expensive. I had to go through it myself, buying things, trying them. I gave everything about 3 months. That was my time to make sure you give something enough time, right? Go through trial and error. This isn't working, this is helping, and then it just everything. And then I continue to research now to make sure I stay on top of everything for you, to make sure that I am giving the top of the best resources still. And anything new that I find that can help accelerate the body's ability to heal. And I've recently come around something of that I've implemented and included in the program as well, because I want the best of the best for your child, and I want to be able to have done the research for you so you don't have to anymore. I've done the work for you. So all you need to do is join the program and start implementing the steps in the order that they're laid out in for you. And I give you the link, the exact link to purchase it. Many of the companies have been generous. I've worked with them, talked with them, interviewed them, and I've asked if they would offer us a discount code, and many have. So we have discount codes for many of those supplements as well. We have the safest and natural forms of things, liquid and powder, because kids won't usually swallow pills. If the best of the best only came in a capsule form, then I teach you in each page for each supplement where to get it, how to use it, how to begin it at its very lowest dose and increment up. And if it only came in capsule form, then you can open it up and pour it into a little bit of food or beverage, and then have your child take it that way to get it in. But everything I've tried to make as easy as possible, but it needed to be the best. And I believe that I have found the best of the best, and they are in the program. Carla, I'm interested in this program. This issue with my son is that he's a very picky eater. Super, super common, Carla. So I don't know how I would implement diet changes. I've tried it all, and he's very restrictive. I've purchased every powder, simplified meals, offered every food, and been consistent, but he won't budge. So I don't know how I would implement the diet changes, which is crucial in healing his gut. Candida yeast and neurological sensory issues keep him looped in the crunchy stuff. So these are common questions and concerns and issues that parents face, Carla. And there are some powdered resources to help get some nutrition into your child now that I offer, and direct links to them in the program. How to make even a smoothie for them, some pureed products that are on the market that are healthy, that I have found just as ways to start getting some nutrition in now as you're transitioning, because you've tried it all. And the reason that they are not changing is because that, for one, that they're eating any of the junky foods still, then the processed carbohydrates, sugars, and things like that, their gut is not only inflamed, but they're feeding the candida and the bad bacteria in the gut. So that is exacerbating the problem. So we want to start working with you can even transition. One thing I shared yesterday in the class, or yesterday or the day before, was like a lot of parents will, like if they give their child rice is just a white plain carbohydrate, turns directly to sugar in the body, and it has very, very little to no nutrition. So you want to take, if they eat something like rice, there's cauliflower rice that's frozen, even in the health food store now. You can get it, or you can make your own, and it looks just like rice and it's healthy. So you can start, but you don't want to do it all at once because your child will see it. And the other thing is they probably have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. This is very common with PANS and heavy metal toxicity. And so OCD comes in with their foods, as do histamine triggers, and they know that the food has caused them anxiousness, so they don't want to change it. And they're feeding that bad bacteria with the bad foods, which the bad bacteria in their gut are craving. So it's making them continue to crave that. And so what we want to do is start shifting a little bit. If it's not working for you to remove all the foods, don't buy the bad foods anymore. That's it too. But you're going to have to transition, right? So if you're going to transition, you take, say, a little bit of the rice, and you give them this is an example, what they're eating now, and then you take a little bit of the cauliflower rice and mix it in with the regular rice, just a little bit. And then the next time that you do a little bit more of the cauliflower rice, a little bit less of the white rice. And then you just start transitioning where it's eventually more and more of the good. And then eventually, a lot of parents have said now they just eat the cauliflower rice and don't even care that the rice isn't there anymore. It's just something to get used to, because there is that obsessive compulsive disorder around food. So that can be part of the issue. The other thing is, if, like one mom said, my child will only eat chicken nuggets, they won't eat anything else. And I said, well, don't buy the bad ones. Don't, go to fast food restaurants or buy bad ones in the store. Go to a health food store and at least get an organic version. It's still maybe going to have gluten on it right now. You're going to have to, they are also, in day one, I taught how they are literally addicted to the bad, like their opiates that are created from casein in dairy and gluten in wheat products. So these are literally addictive, as well as the bad bacteria being fed off of them. So as you wean them off of it, it can be like weaning a child off of a drug. And those bad bacteria, as they start to die, hence the term die off, then because we're not feeding them the bad foods anymore, which is what we want them to die, then as they die, we need to have some toxin binders and things in place so that they can help sop up those extra toxins, because otherwise the body, their body is just trying to figure out how to process out the extra toxicity, because they're already so loaded with toxins. The liver can't process any more out. It's overwhelmed, it backs up, and then we see extreme behaviors. So this is, again, termed die-off reaction, or Herxheimer is the technical term for it, actually. And so that's where toxin binders can be helpful, stress reduction techniques and things like that as well. So it's just a transition. One mom said, my child will only eat potato chips. I said, okay, there's no nutrition, so taking them away from him is not going to help. It's going to hurt. It's going to help, but stop buying them. So, sometimes we think Oh, I've tried it all, but there are other methods and ways to transition. And while you're transitioning, people ask all the time, parents say, well, is it going to make any difference if I start implementing the supplements and working through the program, if my child's still eating bad foods? The answer is absolutely yes, it's going to help them. It's going to help them, and they need it probably more because they need to have that additional supplemental support and toxic bonding support while they're still eating those bad foods. And those are the things that are going to start helping to actually heal the gut up, as well as the dietary changes. It's not only diet, it's both. So as that starts happening, your child's picky eating can get better and improve because the gut is starting to heal and the bad pathogens are starting to reduce. My son was once a very picky eater, so I've been through it and I know what that's like. But today he's not a picky eater at all. And so, that can absolutely change. And I've had many, many, many parents in the program tell me, oh my gosh, my child's starting to eat new foods. And then they're like, now they'll eat everything. They never used to do that. So just be patient, give yourself patience as well, because I know at home you feel like, oh, I did this for a couple of days, not that you haven't done it for longer. I'm just saying, I've done this and it didn't work. There are, you just continue your strategies as you're implementing the supplements to help start healing the gut and, fighting off the pathogens as you're transitioning in the diet. All of it can be done at the same time. It's not like your child can only be on good foods or you can't be implementing any of the supplements. That doesn't make sense. You want to be able to start implementing, and you can right away. And I would recommend it for sure. Sarah, why is cancellation not allowed for a year? And if automatically renews for another year before canceling it, can it be canceled? It's only 1 year initially. After the first year, you can cancel at any time. It's that it takes at least a year to do this. And I work hard to work with people, and I want commitment. And, if this isn't a Band-Aid or a quick fix, and we don't want to just come in thinking, oh, it's only going to, in a couple of months, my child's going to be all recovered from autism. This takes time. It's obvious it takes time for the changes in the behaviors for the supplements to be implemented, and dietary changes. And I want to make sure that people are, and I release the entire program up front. That's another thing. I don't wait and give you little bits at a time, because everybody's pace is different, and you may be moving faster than somebody else. So you want to be able to move on to the next supplement in line, but somebody else isn't able to yet. And so I want it to be available for everybody to do on their own timeline. And this does take time, and a year and is not just having just the program available, it's also the support. But but after that, it's you choose if you want to continue or not. I have many parents that are in their third and fourth year in the program by their own choice. They can cancel at any time, but they like the support, they like the community. If they have questions, they know they can ask me at any time. Being a member, they know that they have access still to supplements. They can still get their personalized elixir readings, things like that are really valuable. So because the needs of our child change over time as they improve. So we work with that, with where they're at on the journey, at each step of the way. So it's always changing. So that is why. Does it work with aggression? It absolutely, yes, works with aggression. And that is one of the things, again, that is really, really, again, common. And I mentioned that already today because you're not the only parent that asked that question. We're home with a child who can be aggressive and even violent. I know what that's like. And we are thinking, desperation, right? Overwhelm and desperate. Is it possible to help my child? Can they get better? I can't take this anymore. And I know that feeling. And the answer is yes. There are definitely, like I've said, multiple people, including my own son, that went from those wild behaviors to being calm, easygoing, happy. And it's a relief. Honest and absolute relief. It does take time. Again, this isn't a Band-Aid. You got to be patient. We're working through toxicity. We're working through co-infections, these pathogens. And somebody's asking that, you missed a part of the recordings that then is it Stefania? Then go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go, and you'll find all 3 of the recordings for all 3 of the 3 live day events that I did. I taught for between 45 minutes to an hour each day, and then we followed it with Q&A, live Q&A. And the Q&A is valuable as well, because there were a lot of parents asking a lot of the same questions that you'll notice that you have, to ask as well, because that, everybody's going through the same thing, and it basically ends up having a lot of the same questions. So, but you can learn the 3 stages, how what I talk about more in depth of each stage, and all of that on the replay page, which is the same as the enrollment page. All of that will now be up on the same page at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. Through the enrollment period, which ends depending on when people are watching this live or recorded. You go to the page, and at the top of the page, it'll tell you how many days or hours are left for enrollment open. So that would be the best way for me to say that now, since some people are watching it live right now, and then this will be recorded here later for people to watch. So I want to make sure everybody does know to go to the page at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. And on that page is everything you'll want. Testimonies from parents, modules, and what the program includes and how it works. The payment options to choose from, the link to join for enrollment, and the 3 days of classes that I just took for the 3-day event, and the downloads that went with each day as well. So all of that is there for you on the same page now. So we've put it all in one place to make it easy, so you can catch all of that while it's still up for a limited time. So make sure that you go to that page and watch any or rewatch any that you want to for those 3 days of classes, and join the program while enrollment is open before it does close, because I want to make sure you do get in, because I truly think that 2026 is going to be a great year. I feel really good about 2026. We've had enough craziness in the past, and things it's about time for a change, a positive change. This is actually the year of the fire horse, which is interesting about that motivation and making a difference and change. And I truly believe that that is what 2026 is about. And I always say, look back at 2025 and 2024. Are those years like what you want this year to be like, or do you want this to be different? And in order to make a change, to make a difference, you need to make changes. And that's what I offer this for you, to start this year out right and get in and be able to start, on the right path, one that gives you results, but one that also can support you on the journey and help you to know what to do and how to do it, rather than jumping around trying to figure it out on your own like you've been doing, trying various doctors and practitioners and therapists and medications and supplements, and overwhelm and no support. Nobody really gets it and understands you. And you get all of those things here. Understanding, no judgment. I've lived it myself. All the parents in the community are fantastic people who are caring, loving parents, successfully moving forward in the program, doing the work for their children just as you want to and will be, and having the resources, and just follow the path, and then go out and have fun. Enjoy yourself. I know it can be so overwhelming that maybe you're not taking care of yourself, you're neglecting yourself, and please take care of yourself. And maybe you're not getting out and enjoying the day ever. You're just too wrapped up in overwhelm and working and taking care of your child. And it's important that you're not feeling like, well, I have to study again. I have to go figure out what else I need to do. I've done the work for you. So please take the time to take the moment to join the program and save yourself the time and all of the expense of trying to figure it out for yourself. That is why I created this program, for our community, for parents like you, to help you to get those best results with a streamlined roadmap that you need and the support you need. Ester binders is carbonized bamboo instead of activated charcoal and coconut. Okay. You know what? I always refrain on these, Esther, from answering a bunch of supplemental questions because it'll take us down a rabbit hole. Parents always want to know, what about this supplement? What about this supplement? What about this supplement? And anything I comment on, I want to make sure that I have clear knowledge about that product and am educated. And if I said, oh, this type's okay, but then you went and bought one and it had a bunch of bad fillers, which I'm glad somebody already asked that question, had a bunch of bad fillers in it, and then your child had, maybe it didn't go well for your child, that might be because it was a bad product. Maybe something in it was synthetic. Maybe it had some bad icky fillers. Maybe it was genetically modified. Maybe it wasn't organic. You want to make sure that all of these boxes are checked, because there can be other reasons why your child reacts to a supplement. So and like I said, in the class, I offered activated charcoal as a simple one single binder that you could, because it's easy and you can go pick it up at the health food store, or I gave a link to it where you could purchase it so you knew what I was talking about, to be specific when parents, aren't sure which to get. There's one for you, or here's what to look for, and you go to the store, whatever you want to do. I just wanted you to know what it is. But in the program, we use a couple that are liquid forms, and you can use longer term. Activated charcoal is a short term one, and you have to be able to mix it into something, and there should be taken away from food. So that was just a simple one for me to put in to something that I'm not able to teach how to take it more clearly or give you more guidance on, and was safe enough for you to just go get on your own. But in the program, we go more into specifics with what to use and how to use them and things like that. And a direct link that you'll have to purchase each individual product when you need them. So that you know exactly what to get. And I always tell people with those, it's best not to modify, because they are the best of the best that I've researched out for that specific need. Joan, I plan on joining the program. Great, but I've started a paleo diet about 4 days ago, saw great results initially. Now the stimming and respective behaviors are back. Is this normal, and will it leave later in the process? Well, Joan, it makes me curious. 4 days ago, you saw great results initially. So it's been 4 days, and initially there were some great results. So maybe day 1 or 2. I don't know exactly what that means. And now stimming and repetitive behaviors are back. So there can be so many things here, Joan. I always troubleshoot through all of was there anything else new added in? Any other new food or new supplement? Any other, what new foods? Because it could be a histamine trigger. Those are very common, or phenols, oxalates, salicylates. I teach you all of this in the program, because there are even healthy foods that can be triggers. There are, was your child, did they go into a new building or possibly have mold exposure somewhere where they picked up something like that? Are they having die-off because maybe the diet is starving out the bad candida, and you have them on toxin binders? So so these are all the pieces that are possibilities, and you need to know. I'm glad you're interested in joining the program, and I hope that you do, because I want you to have all of the answers, because just paleo alone is not enough, and you need to know much more about diet and what to do to support along that way, and what even healthy foods could be triggers, all of these things that could be preventing you from getting those long-term results that you're looking for. That's what I help you with in the program. So please join the program. It's the easiest way I can help, and the best way I can help everybody is in the program. Jessica, you mentioned keto diet. Is that forever or just a period of time during healing? Well, I say keto because a lot of people really try, like, when can I go back to my child go back to eating gluten? And I'm like, you don't want to eat gluten. It's bad. If you live in the United States, it's sprayed with glyphosate weed killer. And, it's known to cause lymphoma. It's known to, deteriorate and inflame the gut, and there are just so many things. And so it's you there are some healthy carbs, and I show what some of the healthier versions of carbs are in the on the diet page in the program. Some options for the healthier versions, but we also get plenty of carbs and things like that in nuts and vegetables. And then keto is just like almond flour and coconut flour are I always say blanched almond flour in case your child has sensitivity to the skins, right? Because there can be, but those are protein based, so you're also getting more protein and more nutrition. So there are healthier ways to eat, and we've really been fooled in the past being told that we need a lot more carbs, and we really don't. Our bodies really, even from back when we were in tribal days and our ancestors, we lived off of meat and vegetables, like basically like, things that were natural, not processed all up. So, so I think it's suggested you can, modify as needed, but I just wouldn't start loading up with the processed junky bad carbs in the future, because you don't want to feed the gut bacteria, the bad bacteria, and you don't want to load up with things that turn to sugar in the body or inflame the gut. I eat healthy all the time, and I know people get very emotional about their food, and it just becomes a new mindset around food. And I talked about Nanti, a member who, when she joined for her son, she realized that her teenage daughter at the time was obese, and they had a bunch of really horrible foods in the house that she didn't even really realize were bad. She got rid of all of them, and she had them all the whole family, all four of them, started eating all healthy foods. And she said her daughter lost weight. She was no longer obese, months later, like after a year or whatever, and they were all healthier, and, it's a healthier way to live. Stefania, you're welcome. Shove, you have a 13-year-old with autism. Move this up. You have a 13-year-old with autism. She's the size of a 6-year-old. What would be a good option to start the growth factor back? What do you think about Suramin? Okay, I'm not answering supplement questions today. You have a 13-year-old the size of a 6-year-old. So she's having what sounds like failure to thrive. And there are many reasons why her body's not thriving and absorbing the nutrition. It's never just one thing. And having an inflamed gut, mold toxicity, Lyme, Candida, all of these things, those bad bacteria and parasites will really eat up the good nutritional food that we eat, nutritious food that we eat, and then they leave our body with the junk left over. And so that starts starving the body, which then starves the brain. So there are, again, ways to, when we work with these pathogens, sometimes that's really when parents start seeing the switch. But we don't work on those pathogens day one. Again, that's why the program takes time, and it's not a quick fix Band-Aid of, in a month or two, if my child's not recovered, I'm out. That I don't want that type. I want a real commitment. So it's gonna take time to try to do some switches with the diet, and that's along the way as you can. There's some things that you can do, and you'll learn a lot. And then we move into the foundational support first, as I taught in day one of the class. Again, go on the page and revisit that if you missed it, because it's healing the gut is much more than diet, much more than diet. And there are some very specific supplements that we can help to take to help that process. And we have to then, once the body is supported enough and strong, the detox pathways have been supported, and the child's body is a little stronger, then we get into what I call the fighters, where we are targeting some of the pathogens more directly, again, with safe, natural things that we use in the program. So there's no drugs or no dangerous side effects. It's all safe, and we're targeting those, and you're going to do it slowly on your child's timeline, because we don't want them to go into a PANS flare. We want to make sure you can keep moving forward, and as your child is able to. because it's all on their timeline. So if symptoms really start to heighten as you're starting to do the process, then you want to slow down a little bit, and that's okay. This is where going slow helps you go faster, because if you go too fast and they just go into a full pans flare, and then yeah, it takes time to get them kind of back down to inch up again. So I teach you all of this in the program with every single supplement, how to begin it at the very, very, very lowest dosage, what symptoms to watch for, if symptoms increase, what to do, how to move forward, all of it. So we're going to work with all of those things that are causing, again, these symptoms that we see on the outside. So hopefully that is helpful. Jeannie, what is something that helps die off? Well, a lot of things, but one is toxin binders. It sounds like you missed day one of the event, or maybe all 3 days. I would absolutely encourage you. All of these things I taught in those 3 days, but in much more depth. So please go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go and make sure that you watch all 3 of those days if you missed any of them, or if you want to revisit one, if you can't remember some of the things that were said, because those replays are up while enrollment is open, and the enrollment is also on the same page, as I've mentioned. So you can join on the same page, learn more about the program, hear from other parents on that page, and watch the replays and learn all of those things there. A lot of kiddos have slow motility, making it hard to properly detox when killing stuff off. Correct. Is there anything to incorporate in phase 1 to help cleanse the colon, to help make sure they have optimal detox pathways? We have had to struggle trying to figure this component out in the past. Yeah, it's really, really common to have constipation. It's a big, big deal in autism. It's a big deal in a lot of people, but especially in autism. And we do, as we're detoxifying, want to keep things moving, because the longer that the stool sits in the bowel, the longer that those toxins in that bowel can reabsorb into the bowel wall, which then reabsorb into the bloodstream. So the solution is, there are many solutions. Again, it's a little bit more to just go into in one thing right here. First of all, one of the talked about it on day 2 in day 2's class, that one of the biggest common reasons for constipation is parasites. So working with parasites, and I have something that is so gentle and so effective that even on the first page, on the toxin binders page, it says, if you're starting this program with a known parasite issue or you suspect a parasite issue, then add in this supplement here in the sequence. Follow this. So you'll know that you can add that one in earlier on in the program. And most people just need to. I'm even just thinking about moving it up in the program period, because it's so needed. But then I do have some a couple of supplement options that I link to that help with the motility, that have been very helpful. I also if your child is, over the age of 5, basically, or even 3, they can do an enema. Over the age of 5, they can do a coffee enema. And I have a whole detoxification support page so over here here are the supplements and what you're doing, but then other assist pages of here's things to know that can be helpful on your journey. And the detoxification page is one of those, just like the diet page is one of those. The detoxification page is one for stress and sensory reduction page, but the detoxification page has a lot of things. I have a background as a craniosacral therapist and massage therapy and a lot of body work, a lot of health background. So I bring a lot of that to the table for you in the program too. On the detoxification page alone, there are some short, like 3 to 5 minute little videos on how to do a little bit of lymphatic massage to help drain, how to work certain areas to help the colon, to help motility. How on that page, instructions for how to do an enema on a child. because though, and then, or how to do a coffee enema if they're over the age of 5. So those are things that, and what that means, why you would do that. So those are some things, and yes, there are a couple of supplements that have been helpful as well. But yeah, it's all of the above. And as we're working with that underlying issue, the other thing is making sure that you have adequate hydration, and it's pure water which means with a very high quality water filter, and you're giving your child, like, this means like 3 to 4 good sips every 30 minutes. A lot of people think hydration is, I'll drink a glass of water and then I'll wait an hour or 2 hours and I'll have another glass, or I'll have a few sips now and then in an hour I'll have a few sips. We need to keep hydration going all day long for the cells and the body to be able to flush. Another issue with children with autism and affects detoxification is mitochondria. I have a whole page on mitochondria and what we do for it to help support it, because mitochondria is the energy powerhouse of the cell. And it is very reduced and low in people who have health issues, and especially in autism. And so we want to support the mitochondria. And as we do that and we give more strength to it, the strength in those cells is also the strength in the muscles. So they have to have enough muscle strength for their bowel muscles and the bowel walls to push the stool through as well. So it's hydration, mitochondria. What foods are they eating? We don't want to overdo fiber foods. Like a lot of things you'll read say, just add fiber. Well, if you're already backed up, extra fiber can cause more binding and cause more problems. So you want to have a little bit of it, in there to help flush things, and help to move things through. So that's also something to know. So all of these are things that you'll learn all about in the program too. Tricia, can it stop stimming? Yeah, I talked about stimming already. That's a big common one. Stimming comes from everything. It's never just one thing. And that's why I would encourage you again to go and review the 3 days of classes that I just taught, and learn what all of the underlying causes are to the symptoms that we see on the outside. Because stimming, speech, mood instability, tantrums, anger, rage, inability to focus, sleep problems, everything that we see is a symptom. And those symptoms are caused by something. And I am all about the cause. We don't want to just mask a symptom with, a drug that has serious side effects, or just how can I get rid of this symptom? Well, we're going to work with the cause of it, because that's going to help your child be healthier, for one. But getting to the core of the issue, then those symptoms can reduce or be removed. And that's how it works. So that's what we do. We work with the causes, and these other things start to calm along the way. And it takes time and patience. That's what I always say, is just make sure you know what we're doing. And I teach that in these 3 days in the program. You'll understand how we move forward. So go back and revisit any of those 3 days. Yes, some of you are, and the seizures, Madia, they are also part of these a symptom of these underlying causes, and we work with all of it. So Loopy and Catherine, you're asking, how can I get the link to join and the deadline for enrollment? So thank you for asking. Please do enroll before enrollment closes, and the exact amount of, I think, days and hours is on the top of the page that tells you when enrollment closes, on the same page where the link is to join the program now while it's open, and to revisit any of those 3 classes and to learn more about the program. It is all there for you on the page at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. So make sure that you go to that page now, read and learn what you need to, make your confident, comfortable decision, and please join the program now while enrollment is open before the deadline, so that you get in and I can help you be on the right path, and we can take care of these underlying causes so that these symptoms can start to be removed, and your child can live to their happier, healthier being, who they are, and live to about their full potential, because something has to be done. And you know that already. And that's why you're here to learn. And I have done the work for you. Let me just guide you through the process, and do it diligently. Follow the sequence as it's lined up in the program. Be committed to the process, and just follow it one thing at a time, on your child's timeline, on your timeline. I know everybody's busy. The point is to save you time and save you the expense of trying to figure it all out for yourself. I've already done the work, and the program is very, very reasonable. Please, please join the program now. What supplements are the best for autistic kids? Boy, that's an open-ended question. So I give you all of those answers in the program, because there are multiple ones, but they're needed for a specific time, when we need to use them, and you need to know how to use them. So I don't just throw out random supplements here, because then you would need to know so many more innuendos around when to use it, how to use it, what to look for, how to back off and slow down if you see symptoms, because there's more to know, right? And that's what this is all about, is making sure that you have the right guidance, that you know what you're doing, how to do it, and yes, you have my support in the program. So please go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/go. Learn what you need to. Join the program now while enrollment is open. Please make sure you get in before enrollment closes, because I want you to have these resources for 2026, because this will be the year of positive change, and we're all ready for that, aren't we? Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for taking the time to learn, and for everything, honestly, that you're doing for your child, because you are absolutely the key to their success. So again, thank you for being here, and have a great day.